they run any video and they said that this video has not been verified.
I have taught in a couple of media colleges, and honestly speaking, I was told that whatever answer they give, let them pass.
I remember once I made a huge headline on the back page, and it was something to do with Hitler, and it was all caps, and the spelling went as Hilter. English, you can't edit your copies. You go there with a thesaurus. The next time when I went back, I told my boss, you don't know, they don't know what is a thesaurus. They said, what Soros? He used to see past tense of bring his brand.
Very few who read, who knows, coming to media, the first thing they know is entertainment, glamour, I'll become anchor.
Very exasperating, And once you get into the video, you realize the story is different. So you come up with catchy headlines and you want to lure the viewers, but in the process, you are actually compromising on ethics.
Hey guys, welcome to my channel Frontline and Chai. Today we have with us Moumita De Das, journalist, media researcher and academician, and of course Diganta Guha, who is a veteran journalist from India. So today's topic is very interesting, and it is a much awaited topic. Is the social media emerging as the fifth estate? We know the first estate was the clergy. The second estate was the nobility. The third estate were the commoners and bourgeois. And the fourth estate was the press. Now, fifth estate is a socio-cultural reference to groupings of outlier viewpoints in contemporary society and is most associated with bloggers, journalists, publishing in non-mainstream media outlets and the social media. That's it, with social license. So then, is social media emerging as the fifth estate? Is the mainstream media dying a slow death? So we have over here, we have seen print media almost dead in many developed countries. Even the digital media is bound down to the free and first responders of the social media, where a tweet on Twitter makes news faster than any mainstream digital media, where a YouTube short garners more views. And sometimes we see mainstream media, renowned media people embedding the YouTube links in their website to fill up their own space. What began as to be called as a WhatsApp university or a YouTube university are now actually filling up the gaps of the hugely demanding social network, who are getting the news straight from the horse's mouth. Everything out there is on public domain, so where do we draw the line? Who says what is legal and what is illegal? With the entire globe under its purview, what law can regulate the social media? So I'll throw this question to Moumita and Diganta. First, let's talk to Moumita. Ladies first. So, Moumita, how is print media combating the social media influx?
Thank you, Kaberi, for inviting me on your podcast. It's very interesting topic, and the point you have questioned, it's very tricky one. Because in print media, how we are tackling right now, we can't say that only citizens, we are netizens. Everyone, be it 8 to 80, they are all time we are on our mobile. And with that set, we are connecting to the entire world. Every time, every seconds, be it news, be it entertainment, we can't think of without internet. So you can understand that Going back to that preliminary with Spider-Man's message that I would rather hear, with great power comes great responsibility. I think with that we can start off with our discussion that we can't deny the fact with the social media, and as you have pointed out, the fifth state part, it is slowly and gradually becoming fifth estate because it's challenging the other four estates, which are there evident in our governance and democratic process. So here comes our question whether social media, the power of it, along with the ethical part that you have pointed out, rightly pointed out, whether there are very thin line where there are times where it has crossed its periphery of ethics and unethical points. So we will discuss it along the way, all these points. Thank you.
So, yeah, Diganto, my next question is to you. So, where do we draw the line? How social media is a global phenomenon? It's a global, like, ballooning phenomenon. So, where is it that we draw the line? And is there any legal implications, and who takes charge of the legal procedure if there is any?
Kaberi, it's a very tricky question to answer. I would say that at this point of time, social media is kind of indomitable because, as I've always discussed, that journalism has become much easier than ever. Earlier on, Moumita you would endorse that getting a story was a big deal. We had to depend on our sources, but now everything is being broken on the social media. So celebs or renowned personalities are actually a bit relaxing in the sense that they know that they can tweet and the posts are coming on social media. So when it comes to drawing a line, I think at this point of time it's very difficult. Well, there are legal procedures. You must be knowing the High Court verdict that some regarding Twitter, some questionable or objectionable handles needed to be blocked, and Twitter had filed a suit against the appeal, and it has lost. So at this point of time, obviously, the court is there to take a call. The court is watching, but I think I would go back to what I said. I mean, social media at this point of time is perhaps indispensable.
Yeah, so social media is particularly indomitable, and it is grasping the entire world, and we kind of are beginning to believe what social media. Earlier, we used to not believe, and we used to go for the print media edition, right? So, and we used to believe whatever is to come out in the newspaper. But now we are beginning to slowly believe whatever is there on social media, because we see within seconds, within few hours, that same story is now on print media. So,
right,
I have seen print media. I have seen the death of print media very, very jarringly. When I was in India, I was working for Hindustan Times, and I came from there to Canada. And here, let me tell you this little story to substantiate our discussion. Here, print media is like newspapers in the buses and trains were kicked around on the seats. They were kicked around till they got people, rubbed their foot on them. Nobody read newspapers. Like, I think I'm the only person in this entire neighborhood who reads a newspaper. Like, I have this newspaper, I read this newspaper, and everybody else is they are taking the newspapers and using only the discount coupons on them, and they're throwing away the newspaper. They're using it for cleaning purposes. So I have seen the print media with so much power. Print media also had a lot of power. Like, recently we saw this movie, Scoop. I think, Moumita, you also saw it. Diganta, we saw this movie, and we saw the power of print media put a person in jail for 7 years. That kind of power we had seen, print media wielding that kind of power. So now, do you think that this is a turn of karma events coming in? Social media actually, driving the last nail to the print media editions and all print media, because print media had been misutilizing its powers for a long time. What do you think, Moumita?
Yeah, I was just telling that yesterday I was watching this, web film by Sudhir Mishra, Afwa. And Afwa means fake information. I would not say, I don't like the term fake news, because I think if we if you're calling it news, then it's not, it can't be fake. If you have verified your sources, then it cannot be fake news. I would rather use this term as fake information. So how the power of social media, everything that comes within our small screen, and we believe it. We have used a term like WhatsApp University, if you remember, during COVID times. It was also, we stated that along with the pandemic, we had this the information epidemic, it was thoroughly, it was a fake news which was circulated over the WhatsApp, and there was no one to see through it, and there were so many instances happened, especially in certain zones of India, northern India. We have found that there have been issues, there have been murders relating to this fake information. Recently, we had this social media news. Government of India has circulated or regulated its social media new rules and regulations after this Twitter controversy, in and around the times where farm laws were going on, the controversy related to that. So, Government of India came up with this social media angle, and also there was this huge CSAM material. CSAM material is child sexual abusive material, which were available during COVID times. To check those social media channels, they were asked, because these are all MNCs. They are not Indian oriented. They're based in America mostly. You may name it Twitter or Facebook or Insta. So in the Telegram, the Signal, all of them have this international organizations. So they were bound to have this rule of the law, and they should what we are having social media angles and the rules and regulations that Government of India has taken up. Earlier, I used to think that no, these regulations were not needed. Then I read it more thoroughly as I teach media laws and ethics. That these regulations were very important, because they were flouting, especially Twitter were flouting our law of the land. And even it was accused by other countries too, doing the same way with the Government of India, and not flouting their rule of the land. So especially the WhatsApp University, whatever it comes and we are circulating, even I have seen educated people doing this. I have checked in my friend circle and inner circle. I have checked them. I have asked them that from where you have source. You didn't check or verify from where it has come. Even I ask my students to do the same. My parents who are elderly, who have crossed their 70s, they tend to do this. They tend to believe whatever they see on YouTube. I remember once my mother was very disturbed and called me, some Tollywood actor, Koel's father, he died, Ranjit Malik died. So I said, just hold on, let me check whether it's available on the mainstream media. Then I checked, no, there was no news. So I told them, wherever you have found it, YouTube, I have saw that, video is coming on YouTube. So I said, please don't believe anything that comes on YouTube. You never know. These are created to, these are all fake information. Please don't believe it. Media literacy is very, very important aspect where Government of India has introduced, I think, from this year with the central government schools, to introduce media literacy as part of their curriculum. We are calling it netiquette. How we use it, the net. Okay, we should be responsible citizens. How we tweet, how we in Insta, how we should message. We can't do as ever feel like. You should keep in mind that your 2 words or 2 sentences can have rackers. Okay, it can impact to thousands and millions. Over to you.
So, Diganta, echoing on Moumita's words, you have been very much in print media, thick in print media. From there, you are now emerging in the social medias, like I am. So we are emerging as YouTubers, as content creators, and we are doing it responsibly, okay? Because we know that this impact, like Moumita said, the impact of social media has to come with responsibility. What do you want to say to the new YouTubers who are coming to the foray, and they have billions of views and millions of subscribers. What do you think? What do you think will control them? How will they be controlled?
Well, taking a cue from what Moumita said, I think you need to be responsible. The problem is that there's so much of competition. It's a rat race. It's a mad rat race. And today's social media, thanks to the advent of social media, everyone is becoming a journalist. So I at times wonder whether I was a good journalist or not. Everyone is having the luxury of writing anything or anything under the sun without even verifying. In fact, Amitabh Bachchan has been killed so many times. As Momita said, Ranjit Malik was also dead thanks to the social media. Well, I personally feel that it boils down to the owners of various social media handles. I mean, already they have started cracking the whip, and it's important that they keep a strict watch on, as Momita said, fake information. It's not fake news. The problem is with the advent of this digital media. What is happening is I work for various portals, and I know that there's so much of competition. There's so much, there's so much of intensity in the race that you want to sort of go ahead of the rest. In the process, what you do is you don't verify. You get something on Twitter, you get something on Facebook, you just jump onto it and you publish that story. Eventually, you realize that it's all false. In fact, I almost ended up falling into that trap a couple of times, and I was heavily reprimanded. So I think more than regulations, I think it also boils down to your mindset. Because as I said, and I would reiterate that it's a very serious job. It's a very serious job. You can't write anything, and so
Yeah.
you come up with catchy headlines, and you want to lure the viewers, but in the process, you are actually compromising on ethics with
And
artificial
those
intelligence.
videos actually get millions of views because people,
Lakhs and crores of
yeah,
views, lakhs
people
and
do
crores.
not know the
I
content
think
and they
Kaveri,
click on it.
right, right, Kaveri. So far as YouTube is concerned, I think it's imperative that YouTubers are not only responsible. Somebody has to sort of stand up and stem the rod, because the kind of videos that I come across, I mean, they're very catchy, but I know that they are all fake. How can you just make an observation without verification just for the sake of garnering views, which I have been reiterating over and over again. So I think it's I don't know. I mean, it boils down to laws. It boils down to owners, social media owners like Mark Zuckerberg and Elon Musk and all that. So just for the sake of garnering views, you can't afford to cross a line.
Yeah. So that is what I think, that like I was saying, people they have these keywords, or which is called the click words, clickbaits. So they
Clickbaits, yeah,
clickbaits.
clickbaits.
They use the clickbaits to garner views on your video without giving them the content. So in the process, what happens? I think, if you ask me, I think the public sab janti hai. Public hai wo sab janti hai. There was a song, remember? So the
Mhm.
public knows what is right and what is good and what is not good. So I
Right.
guess if you at the end of the day, the people will decide what is good and what is not good. But
I don't think so, Kaveri. I don't think so. I'm very, sad, and I'm very dismayed by the fact that these videos, these irritating videos, which are bereft of authenticity, they actually run amok. I mean, just go through, and I would say that even at my own expense, at the expense of my own future, if there is a toss up between a Narendra Modi story and a Parinit Chopra Raghav Chadda story, I can bet on my life the latter is going to rock.
yeah, yeah.
So it
So
also boils up from the text. People
yeah.
people love those kinds of stories.
Yeah, actually. So that's what I've also seen. Like, if a video is titillating, some kind of a titillating message is there, people will go for that video. I mean, there are millions and billions of YouTube doesn't have a control over its videos, over the content. So they just ask you when you're uploading whether your video
So
content.
I have something to add here, Kabiridi.
Yeah,
If you remember, we know the fact that any publicity is publicity. It can be
yeah.
negative or positive.
Hmm.
Here, I would rather add one aspect to social media, that is trollers or the trolling community.
Yeah,
You must be knowing that nowadays all the political parties have certain community who have been hired to troll. Trollers are hired
hmm.
with thousands and lakhs of salaries, where they picked up some pointers and they troll. and to make it more viewers, they do it. So it's all the story of every party is falling, especially after 2014 when Modi government came to power. Our entire political dynamics changed. The communication. Why this is very evident point. The social media, the role of political parties and the social media dynamics and political dynamics entirely changed since 2014 because they have shown the way how to use it. I'm not going into the part of any war. We can say pyar or jang mein sab kuch jaiz hai. This is one of the term that we know. They have put up many points where ethical and unethical means how they have achieved this. I'll not getting to that. That Diganta would be also knowing it. But the point is, every political party is doing the same thing. And as of, I would rightly, agree with Diganta that I too, public sab janti hai or public samajhti hai. I don't think so anymore. Because your media literacy is very important. Even Diganta said that he has also fallen in sometimes, if you remember, even Rajdeep Sardesai has also fallen for some very important point where he was banned for certain period when during farm laws when he was covering it from Delhi. He fell for one of the fake information that he received. That somebody died, and if you remember that, for it's a fake information. So I have some point here comes the role of mainstream media. You all will agree that at some point these mainstream media, especially television broadcasts, where there's no norms, nothing comes, not even print, though have Press Council of India, but I don't think so. Broadcast media have anyone to say anything. So they run any video and they said that this video has not been verified. How come you're showing a video without verifying it? And this is where the ethics comes. If you people don't verify it, we public, you are saying that public would, obviously public would agree what you are showing. And you are stating that you have not verified. How can you show it? How can it be a responsible journalism if Diganta would like to, chip in?
I would definitely echo what you said, Moumita. The thing is, as I said, I would just go back to what I started off from the outset, that it's all about competition. You come up with anything just to your viewers. I have seen big portals, important portals which we follow, which we adhere to. They are coming out with videos which say eta ki bole eta verified now, whatever in Bengali, whatever they say. I mean, this is really funny because this is irresponsibility at its height. What do you mean by purportedly? What do you mean by purportedly?
That's the word they use.
Allegedly. Purportedly is more popular. Right. See, I think I'll tell you something. I'll just add to what Moumita said, add to what you said. See, we are on a very sticky wicket. We are actually getting swayed by the lure of glitz and glamour associated with social media. But eventually, I might sound a bit old-fashioned, but eventually, true journalism has to come back.
How do you think true journalism will come back?
Yeah, I will.
Because print media is dying. Nobody's buying print media.
I will add to it. A lot of responsibilities lie with all these media colleges. If Moumita would agree with me, I have taught in a couple of media colleges, and honestly speaking, I was told that whatever answer they give, let them pass. I have asked them questions like, there was this girl who wanted to be a sports journalist. So I asked her, so you want to be a sports journalist? Okay. You've heard of Muhammad Ali, obviously. Who is he? She asked me. There was one more girl. I asked her about Kashmir. She stood up and said, sir, it's a beautiful place. Now, if this is the lot, see, I know I might be, ruffling feathers, but let me be very honest. These private media colleges have a lot of responsibilities. They get exasperated by the fact that this is the quality of journalists we have. Young journalists who don't even know what the capital city of Pakistan is. So I was shocked. Some of them said,
general knowledge is generally dying among youngsters.
No, it's gone for a toss. It's gone for that's what I'm saying. That I have an objection to all these private media schools coming up at the drop of a hat, and because I think I know I'll be sort of vilified after this, but it's true. Going by my experience, I've seen that Anybody and everybody is becoming a journalist. But once you put them on the job, they make a mess of it.
Yeah, I think the next generation seriously lack knowledge and grammar. Like when I'm seeing the digital, why I got so disillusioned, like Diganta says, I got so disillusioned with the digital media is that when I came to this country and I was seeing the digital posts, I worked in the digital media also, they were all copy pasting, copy pasting, copy pasting. Okay, that was understandable. But when you copy and paste, look at the spellings. How are you copy pasting the wrong spellings, wrong grammar? Like there were so many mistakes. I remember we would be sacked if we made such a mistake in our newspaper. We would be sacked on spot. It was so strict with us when we worked in HT and Telegraph. It was so strict. I made a huge headline on the back page, and it was something to do with Hitler, and it was all caps, and the spelling went as Hilter. So I was petrified the next day. What's going to happen? It came out in print in block letters, such a big, thick font that is impact font, and it was Hilter. But my boss did not notice. Nobody noticed. And I went scot-free. Today I'm saying I went scot-free.
Yes, it happened. There was a Subhash Ghai interview. The interview was carried and I was very excited. I opened the papers next morning and I saw the headline, going global.
Global.
Yeah, global. L was missing. So Mr. Ghai called me up and asked me, Diganta, is this a new word? I said, oh, I think it's a typo. Like so far as today's age is concerned, we always have the provision to change, edit and re-edit. But once it goes on print, it's gone with the wind. So I was very embarrassed.
Yeah.
So exactly. I asked the chief sir, what do you mean by global? Is this a new word? Maybe my English is questionable. She just looked up to me and said, my mistake. I said, you made my life hell, darling. So why? Anyway.
So that is the thing, like we had so much strict parameters and now there is nothing. You can just make up a word like I do. I make up a word like that. I said, okay, everybody's making up words. I'm also going to make up words and just make up words and put it. And today, everything like some strange words are being added to Oxford Dictionary and which we had thought to be our Bible of our, education system. We thought Oxford and Webster's dictionary, they were the Bible to refer to. And now strange words are being added to Oxford. And you don't know, those words never existed in our times.
So coming back to what Diganta was saying, that today's education system and especially Gen Z, I am teaching for last 8 to 9 years. And across Kolkata, now I'm in district, I'm in a district-based university. But though Kolkata students come, the point is, students, I would not say everyone, but few of them are truly into it. But most of them are in a very superficial manner. They think that media is very easy, very entertaining. Entertainment is the point where they glamour in entertainment. That the basic knowledge, truly it has went for a toss, especially for last 2 years with the COVID, 2.5 years with COVID, everybody was just, asked to get past. School makes you or breaks you.
So that is what the world has come to. Like I feel when I came to this country, I was dismayed that, people did not know English. This, I should tell you that when I was coming here, my boss told me, you don't know English, you can't edit your copies, you go there with a thesaurus. The next time when I went back, I told my boss, they don't know what is a thesaurus. They don't know what is a thesaurus. They said, what Soros? People like my son's friend, he used to say past tense of bring is brang.
But we are the ones who cherish the fact that we don't know Bengali. Amar Bangla ta ashe na. Look at Bipasha was. She's a Bengali. She was born and brought up. Exactly. She studied here. She stayed in, I think, South Calcutta. I know people who know her. And now she hardly can speak in Bengali. She would just, she would just say a few sentences, maybe one or two. After that, she would sort of break into English or Hindi. It's all crap.
But so eventually, I think I don't
আমার
know,
বাংলাটা
maybe we
আসে
are the
না।
passing generation now. We are the aunties of our generation, at least I am. We are now resorting to visual media because I see that my blogs are not being read so much. People do not read. So they don't even read blogs. They don't even read books, leave alone books. I've written so many books. Nobody reads. So we are trying to, communicate. Why? Because we are communicators and we'll remain communicators all our lives. Right, Moumita? So you have your students. Like you can at least groom your students.
I have one question for Moumita, Kaveri. If I can
Sure.
just sort of step in. I have one question for Moumita. What exactly do they want? What is their kind of outlook? What is their kind of approach towards life as a whole?
As of I have, the point is in class, there are very few students where we find the true essence of, interest. Uh, Very few who read, who knows, coming to media, the first thing they know is entertainment, glamour. I'll become anchor. And they think that anchors do not need any reading or writing or know the knowledge of news. They think they just read. Okay. Uh, and the point is to write. To write, you have to read. Most of them are into content writing, academic writing. There are ghost writing. I hope ghost writers, okay, doing research articles, writing, researching for them. These are the some of the where the people who can write. They are getting into it, and some are going to the sales department, PR department, and what do they want? They want that easy. Okay, it's very easy. We don't have to study, and they get marks very easily. If going by what are the I teach journalism papers, I teach media laws and ethics. For me, assignments, the deadlines, and there is a going that Moumita ma'am is very strict about the deadlines. So deadlines are sacrosanct. I'm after them that you do it. No copy pasting because I check plagiarism. It's very important that we check plagiarism. So we use software.
Yeah.
So we are very much want to give the quality education. The point is you can understand it's a two-way communication. I would give, but whether they are ready to take it or not and how much and discuss it. I have found that they don't like lecture. They like discussions. They like that they would give in that space to listen to. That I refer to Social Dilemma to you, if you remember Kaberi Dutta on Netflix, whether this social media.
I watched it. I watched it actually.
Yeah, so the perspective of social media, the power of it and how it works. We are all commodity. Invariably, we don't know, but it's the free services, but we are the commodities. We are being sold each moment because every time we sell our own privacy. Where we are going, where we are, what kind of attire I'm prefer. So what kind of political ideas I believe. So every time, each and every one of us giving up our privacy. So
we are doing it voluntarily
as a commodity. We are
giving it up voluntarily. We are giving up our privacy voluntarily. So this is the new age that we have transitioned and come to. We can wrap up this session by saying that Diganta, do you have any last things to say?
Yeah, I think going by the discussion we've had so far, so good. I mean, to infer, it's essential that print media stays because like you, like me, like Moumita, we've all grown up on print media. We have whatever little we have achieved, whatever little we have learned. It's all thanks to the Statesman, the Times of India, the Telegraph. We didn't have the luxury of digital media during our growing up days. So I think if you really want to have good journalists, if you really want to have solid talent around, I think print media should stay. So this is the other side to it. But overall, I think if you look at the larger interest, and we are all in love with journalism, we are all in love with this profession. I think if you really want to have quality journalists around, print media has to stay in its own way. Now, how it's going to sort of innovate, how it's going to evolve, how it's going to bounce back, well, this is a matter of debate. We can have another round of discussion on this. But overall, in the interest of journalism, print media has a role to play.
So over here, I'd like to ask you one thing. What is the quality of a print media that you wanted to stay? That the fact that it is indelible, it unalterable, is that the word? That the thing?
I'll tell you. The challenge with print media is we've all walked on the desk. Okay, we've all walked on the desk. So there is a limitation. There is a limitation in the sense this is the space you have to give a headline. There is a limitation. You have 500 words, you have 600 words. So within that space, you have to convey your message to your readers. But so far as the digital space is concerned, you have the floor open in front of you. 2,000 words, 3,000 words, 4,000 words. So you're writing, and I'll tell you something. Whenever there is a there's a follow-up news, the first 3-4 lines, they are all new. The next, they are all carried up from the old news. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. So in the end, like to wind it up, and we must, as we said, that digital print media is dead. We cannot stop it. We cannot resurrect it. But digital media can be, made better. Since there's a term called if you cannot beat them, join them. So if we cannot beat the advent of the digital media and the social media, we can join them to make it better. So this is to appeal to all an appeal. That's all I can do, because we are the passing generation. We are going away, and you guys are taking over. The young generation taking over. So this is an appeal to all of you to make things better, and it's in your hands. And with greater responsibility, like Moumita said, with greater power comes greater responsibility. And social media is powerful. It's almost without any legal bindings anywhere. Nobody is binding you, but you have to watch what you post.
I would don't mean to undermine anybody. We don't mean to post cons on the current generation. But from our little experience, whatever we've had, we're just trying to share our expertise so that ultimately it helps you in the longer run. So
onus lies on the future generation, a Gen Z. Even my son, who is 14-year-old, I learn many things from him through that.
I also think I learn a lot from the next generation. Like my son is 26, but he says he's old. So I am like older than him, and he says he's older than the next generation. So I really do not have any clue about the next generation after my son. So anyway, I'm sure they also are coming up with a lot of responsibility, and we are going to, see a very good social media network. Hoping on that note and closing on that note, thank you guys for being here with me, and it was a wonderful discussion we had. It was much awaited. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everybody.
Bye
to the audience.